Welcome to the fourth video in the Intro to R Basics series. In this video, we're going to be talking about if statements and for loops. We're going to start off with if statements, and they all have the same structure. So we're going to use the word if. In regular parentheses, we're going to have something that's called a test statement. Then we're going to, in curly parentheses, put something that we want to happen if test statement is true. After that curly bracket, we could have the word else. And then in there, we would put something we want to happen if test statement is false. And all if else statements will have the exact same structure. An example of a test statement, or first of all, a test statement is just a Boolean value. It's either going to take on the value of true or false. So some examples could include 1 is less than 2. That's true. We have 3 times 4 is greater than 20. That one's false. Another example could be 30 equals 3 times 10. That one's true. And then to check the remainder, this one checks remainder. So this is saying that when we divide 19 by 3, the remainder is 0. This one's false. These are just 4 examples of test statements. And of course, you could use a bunch of different other ones, but the main thing is that a test statement takes on the value of true or false. If the statement is true, then whatever is in these first curly brackets is going to happen. If the statement is false, whatever is in the curly brackets after the word else will happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an if statement that checks if a number is divisible by 3. We're going to start off with the number 1000. And remember, they all have the exact same structure. We're checking if the number that we're choosing, when we divide by 3, has a remainder of 0. So if that is true, we want to print yes, divisible by 3. If it is not true, we want to print no, not divisible by 3. So I have my number, 1000. If that number, when we divide by 3, has a remainder of 0, this is going to print. Otherwise, this is going to print. We know that 1000 is not divisible by 3, so the no not divisible by 3 should be printing, and that's exactly what happens. If we put 900 in here, and then we run this again, this one is divisible by 3. This is a very simple if-else example, but all of them, like I keep saying, will follow the exact same structure. Now with a for loop, these ones are also going to have the exact same structure. So we're going to have for. We're going to have some sort of number in a sequence. So for all the numbers in a certain sequence, do something. In this example, what we want to do is we want to figure out which numbers between 1 and 21 are divisible by 3. So what we're going to do is we have our for loop, and we have an index I that's going to cycle through our sequence. And we're going from 1 to 21. Now, we could have written this as we did before, where we have a sequence going from 1 to 21 by 1. But in this case, it's just easier to write it this way. So we're going to cycle through. I is going to first take on a value of 1. Then after that loop is run, it's going to take on a value of 2. Then after that, 3, and so on, up until 21 inclusive. And for all of those values, we're going to test if the number I, when we divide it by 3, has a remainder of 0, then I want to print that I is divisible by 3. Now, unlike above, where I only had print, here I have print and paste, and this allows me to include values of a variable along with written text. So if I just use print, I can only have written text. If I use print and paste together, I can combine text with values of variables. Now, if I is not divisible by 3, then I don't want anything to happen. So I'm not going to have an else statement here. We only have the for, or the if statement. So when we run this, we have 3 is divisible by 3, 6 is divisible by 3, 9 is divisible by 3, and so on. So it does work. This is the end of the for and if statements video. In the next video, which is the last video, we will go through some numerical and graphical summaries of data.